Hey all, it's Aquarius, and I wanted to chime in on Tamar's uh, recent breakup and kind of look into their situation. And every time I look into a situation, like I get totally surprised because sometimes really surprised a lot because when I see their cards, I'm like it just kind of hits me off the bat. So Tamar is a six of diamonds, and I'm gonna go into a little bit about the six of diamonds first. Six of diamonds is the card, believe it or not, is just oftentimes, if you follow me, I've talked about this before, but it's associated with interracial relationships. So typically, when there's a six of diamonds, there's going to be some sort of interracial relationship, whether it's with that six of diamonds or it's with someone around them in their circle, right? But that card, oftentimes, that's what that brings. So if you have a six of diamonds in your life, you might wind up dating somebody of another culture or race, or even marrying somebody, right? And Tamar's ex fiance, I think his name is Jr. Right? He is a five of clubs, right? And the five of clubs is ultimately not, honestly, to be told, and this is no disrespect to him, but it's not the most marriageable card there is, believe it or not, right? Now, it's not to say that they don't get married, but there are a lot of quirks within the five of clubs that kind of bring unexpected reversals or unexpected plot twists in their life, right? So I'm gonna tell you a little bit about the five of clubs and how it is. Even though it's a kind of wild kind of energy beneath the surface, right? And even controversial. They have an ace of spades in Venus, so they tend to like to keep their relationships under wraps and secret, right? So five of clubs person, a man especially, is not the type of man that you're going to see on reality shows and stuff like that, especially wanting to share a lot of his self in his personal life when it comes to relationships. Now, when it comes to what they do like to share, is typically, they'll talk about maybe political subjects or subjects that are really passionate about, that they're about passionate about, and kind of even things that puts them on a soapbox, because they do like to be on a soapbox. They do like to evangelize to their friends. They have a Jack of Hearts, which is the evangelist in Uranus, so they do like to evangelize. They do like to speak out. But when it comes to their personal relationships, they're not going to be a fan about their personal relationships being up for speculation like that because of that ace of spades. Ironically, I'm recording this during an ace of spades week, which is their Venus card, right? Six of diamonds. These are six of diamonds are very interesting people, right? Because they could have a very traditional side, but then they can also have a wild child side. They have a ten of diamonds in Mercury. I mean, sorry, ten of diamonds in Mars, right? So in the area of their work, there's going to be a lot of attention. So whatever area they work in, that's where they're going to get their fame. They're going to be famous and known for their career or their work, or that path, right? And oftentimes there could be the pursuit, of that wanting to be recognized and seen and stuff like that, because a lot of times they come from situations where they can be, like in the childhood, they can be kind of absorbed in everybody else or forgotten or whatever, right? So a little extra help has to be pushed their way so that they can be seen, because they're wonderfully talented people and they can tend to be wonderful people. But because they're a six, there's you're having to work a little harder, work a little longer to get the quote unquote the fame and the spotlight or whatever, right? And then a lot of times there are losses in their life, you know, with the six of diamonds, like, either losing parents or losing someone very close to them or something like that you might see with the six of diamonds. So there is usually a need or desire to want to settle down in a marriage when it comes to them, because of them used to being to, kind of losing people in a very painful and abrupt manner. So Seeing these two together, or seeing her get engaged to a white guy because she's the six of diamonds, that definitely falls in line with the six of diamonds for me. Knowing what a six of diamonds is going to be associated with that, right? Marriage too, because their hidden power card is the Queen of Hearts, so they become, they can become more better, when they're married. You know what I mean? Like marriage can be almost like a superpower for them, right? And it would definitely be a superpower for her because the Queen of Hearts is a very powerful card, right? Now, and then people have talked about sometimes her mental, whatever the case may be. Six of Diamonds, sometimes they do suffer from depression, or they suffer from manic depression. They can get manic. They can suffer from, just a total mental issue in their lives, in periods of their lives. They can lose it. You know what I mean? And then they'll get it back, and they can get it back together because they have to remain balanced. All sixes have to do with balance. Now, I asked the I Ching first before I even looked at their card. What was the reason for the breakup? And I got 3 into 36. Fundamentally, the I Ching is saying here that there is a fundamental difference or incompatibility between the two. And looking at their cards, I would definitely agree, right? So you have someone whose work, again, puts her in the spotlight, and she's, reality show material, right? And then you got somebody who is wanting to, typically, Five of Clubs like to put on an air of conservative values, but beneath the surface, they're not conservative. Don't fall for it a bit, right? They could be just as passionate, freaky, all of that, just as anybody else. But a Five of Clubs man is going to want this certain level of respect, and they could be a little bit, I guess you could say, patriarchal on the outside. You know what I mean? So, and the funny thing is, even though they're patriarchal, they're going to attract a powerful woman that is not patriarchal, a powerful woman that is going to be powerful in and of herself. Now, they have Five of Clubs men have a Jack of Hearts and Uranus, and that's the superhero. That's Captain Saber, you know what? You know what I mean? So they do get really intrigued by women who may have had father issues, maybe didn't have a father, and they kind of want to swoop in and save the day and be the hero, and they feel like that's where the place where they'll be uplifted, right? But what you don't know is that the hero role is usually temporary. You know what I mean? So you be a hero one time, you're not going to be somebody's lifetime hero. That's just not, because that's not what life is about. Like you coming in and being the savior of an individual. So that becomes a problem, but that usually is what attracts them to somebody. Somebody who may look like they need somebody to come in and swoop the day and show them what a real man's supposed to look like and what a real man's supposed to do, and they feel that they'll get elevated to real man status because of that, right? So, but it's still a Jack, mind you. And so they have that Jack. So that's still immaturity. So that means that they're set to learn lessons in love, and they're set to get their heart broken and stepped on and all kind of other stuff, because they need to mature in what and how they feel in regards to love and relationships and other people. So their combination card is the Jack of Spades, which is a very difficult combination card. I've had that in relationships, right? So the Jack of Spades is like, first of all, I want you to know that the Jack of Spades is a card of masking. This is the actor, right? So of course it's going to involve TV, right? It's going to involve potential other people, like you being on the spotlight and everybody looking at you like you're a television show, hence reality show, right? But it also represents people who are masking, like they're putting their best foot forward. They know how to play the role, but maybe that's not who they really are. Or maybe, they're just trying to keep things under control because they feel like this is what they need to do in order to have what they need to have. Okay. So this is the type of relationship, when you have a Jack of Spades, that I tell people that you got to spend a lot of time getting to know a person in all different scenarios, right? And I understand. I think they may have had kind of like a little bit of a lengthy engagement, which is good. But that's kind of getting to know each other. But then it's public. So this card has has a lot of eyes on it. It has a 10 of diamonds in Saturn. So as soon as you say that this is my person and announce it to the world, all eyes are on them, right? But you got to also understand that there's a deep desire with these individuals to have the eyes on them. Whether or not they want to admit it or not, there's a deep desire for that, right? His hidden power card is the 10 of diamonds. So although he likes to be secretive about his relationships and secretive about some of his desires and stuff like that, he still likes attention. He still wants attention. And he may want attention from the woman that he's with or from other women or however, but he still likes attention regardless, right? Now, that 10 of diamonds is the princess card and it's the little girl, right? So that usually attracts jack of hearts type individuals because they're looking at you as the little girl and a princess. You're the damsel in distress. So that's where they're gonna come out the woodwork and come and try to, quote unquote, be in your life because of you being potentially the damsel in distress or the 10 of diamonds. She has a 10 of diamonds in Mars. So even though she's a hard worker and even though she is strong in her own right, there's going to be a part of her and that's going to be the part that she shows to men or the man that she with, that is going to be the princess. Like, I'm a little bit of the princess. Come on, take care of me. And I'm looking for somebody to take care of me and stuff like that, even though she's quite capable of taking care of herself. And that is the problem, right? And a lot of times with the 10 of diamonds, when the 10 of diamonds come to play, we're talking about ancestry. We're talking about angels. Angels and divine intervention are taking place here, right? So imagine that a council of you get together with somebody and they got their angels and you got your angels, right? So both of y'all angels come together and say, we're going to give them an opportunity to see if maybe they can make this work out, right? We're not too sure it's going to work out, but we're going to give them that opportunity. We have to let them have the free will to have that opportunity. And we're here to assist, right? So this is the type of relationship that will work out for a very spiritual couple, a couple that comes together on their spiritual values and believes the same thing. And they also believe in angels and believe in spirits and all of that stuff like that. And they work with the spirits and they petition the spirits because the Jack of Spades is also the card of spiritual initiation, right? So this is the type of relationship that will work for people who acknowledge that they're undergoing a spiritual initiation, and that the spiritual initiation, it indicates that there are going to be problems. There are going to be issues, but they came together to work through these issues and be victorious. And then they're able to teach others the lessons that come out of this type of situation. So imagine, like I said, the ancestors are sitting in council and they said, we're going to sit back and we're going to see what happens. And that's exactly what happens. So you got his ancestry, her ancestry, two different types of ancestries sitting there to see if this could possibly work. And in order for it to possibly work, they already know that number one, you have to consult with these spirits. And number two, you have to take your time. So again, with the Jack of Spades combination, this is something that you have to take your time because you got to get to know the faces of the person you're dealing with. When there's a Jack of Spades there, that means that somebody or both parties, usually both parties, are not showing all their faces. They're not revealing their hands. They're not showing their hands yet. Their hand will come out, and it may come out very suddenly, abruptly, and maybe even very ugly, but it's not coming out now. You know what I mean? Also, this type of relationship would have to stay away from drugs and alcohol. So I'm not saying that any one of them do have drugs and alcohol, but drugs and alcohol would be very damaging to this relationship. It would only make it worse. So this would have to be a combination of a very sober couple. Very, very sober. So as you see, the I Ching said that the fundamental difference or incompatibility between her and him, it indicates their values, goals, and interests don't align, leading to the dissatisfaction or discontent, right? So people don't know, like back in the days, folks used to come together before the oracles and say, hey, would this person be a good person for me? And I myself, before I go out on any date, I do ask. I ask, is this person compatible? with me? And then I also ask, is there potential for XYZ? Now, sometimes you just have to go through something in order to be prepared for somebody else. Sometimes you're not going to get your superstar person until you go through a challenge that transforms you and changes you in some way. And because there's a five of clubs here, that indicates that yes, there's going to be a transformation that changes them in some way that will prepare them for better relationships in the future. And that's what the Jack of Spades could do. It could prepare you for better relationships in the future.